This video will guide you through installing a Linux system, specifically Ubuntu 17.04, using VirtualBox. The whole process will take about 20 minutes. Assuming you already have VirtualBox installed, we're going to start by downloading a copy of the Ubuntu ISO from the website ubuntu.com. Click Desktop, click Download Ubuntu, and then when selecting your Ubuntu version, there are generally two options: the long-term support or LTS release. This is great for servers and production systems, and the cutting-edge release, which contains all the latest and greatest software. All Ubuntu versions are labeled according to the year and month they are released. So 17.04 was released in April 2017. Click Download, then click Continue to the download. And if the download doesn't start immediately, you can click Download Now to start. Now that the download is complete, we're going to switch over to VirtualBox and we're going to install a fresh copy of Ubuntu. The first step is to create a new virtual machine. Virtual machines are great because they allow you to test things without having to mess around with your actual computer, or to try and find a spare machine and peripherals like a monitor and keyboard. Today I'm using a Mac, but the process is almost exactly the same for Windows, so you should be able to follow along. Give the new machine a name and switch the type over to Linux. Ubuntu 64-bit is the default version setting, so no change is required there. Click Continue. The default memory size is fine, so we'll click Continue. Next, we need to create a virtual hard disk for the new machine, so click Create, and for our test machine, you can simply accept all the default settings. Now that the system is ready to go, you can click the Start button to launch our new machine. Since this is the first time the machine has been booted, it will ask you for your installation media so that you can install the system. Click the Browse button and open the folder where you earlier downloaded the Ubuntu ISO and double-click the ISO. Click Start. Once this is booted up, we'll be going through the installation process. It's important to keep in mind that this virtual machine, also known as a guest machine, is completely isolated from your actual computer or host system. I'll be accelerating different parts of the video to minimize the time spent waiting. Once the system has booted, a welcome app will appear. You're able to use this bootable ISO as is without needing to install the system. However, any changes you make will be lost after each reboot. Instead, we want to install Ubuntu onto our local system so that we can continue working with the same system in future tutorials. Here, it's requesting if we want to download updates while we're installing, but we'll be covering that in a future tutorial, so we'll leave that for now. And we don't need the third-party software in this case, because the VirtualBox drivers are available as part of the default system install. Click Continue. Because this is an isolated virtual machine, we're going to erase the entire drive and install Ubuntu. The other options will not be covered as part of this introduction series, as they are more complicated and generally not required. Click Install Now, and a dialog will appear asking you to confirm the request to delete the data, so just click Continue. The next step is your time zone. You can set this by clicking on the map if it hasn't been able to auto-detect your location. Click Continue. Next are details about your keyboard, but you'll notice that the Continue button is now hidden off to the right side of the screen because the dialog is too large. There are two ways to address this issue. The first is to hold the Alt key and then drag the window to the left until the buttons are visible. The second is to simply make the VirtualBox window bigger and the desktop will automatically resize. Next are the user details. The first box is the user's display name. This is a free-form field and can contain almost any character you like. It is recommended that you keep the computer name and username short, simple, and all lowercase with no punctuation except for hyphens. The password for this system can be kept very simple as well, since it's only for testing, so we'll use Ardexa. In production, you would obviously use a stronger password. Click Continue and the installation will begin. As this can take a while, I'll speed up this step and skip straight to the end where a dialog will appear telling you that the installation is complete. Click Restart Now, and you will be prompted to press Enter once the system is ready to reboot. The machine will now reboot into our new Ubuntu system and present us with a login screen. It has already selected our user account since we're the only user on the system, so just type in your password and press Enter to log in. Congratulations, you now have a fully functional Ubuntu system. In the next tutorial, we will introduce you to the shell, quite possibly the most powerful tool in the Linux toolkit.